The traditional rich place to find bottles is in old outhouses. In a family in 1880 would have an outhouse, and they would throw non-combustible rubbish, which would include empty glass bottles. And then 30, 40 years later, when the house got indoor plumbing, then that would be, forgotten about and ignored. And over a period, and the wooden structure of the little house would be destroyed or just carried off. And the hole, which was the receptacle for the outhouse, would be covered over and would sit for 10, 20, 30 years. And over that time, it would lose its character. It would just be dirt. And those things would then be dug up years later, in the 70s and 80s. They would be dug up, and a lot of bottles come from those outhouse pits. In Los Angeles, when the freeway was built in 1980, there was some construction between the Los Angeles City Hall and the Los Angeles River, which was about 4 or 5 blocks away. And in that construction, they dug up the ground for foundations or other construction. They found outhouse pits. It used to be a location for Chinese labor communities in the 1880s. And a lot of bottles and artifacts were found in those diggings. The great majority of the things in this cabinet behind me, I actually got by trading current merchandise with going pharmacies. Every pharmacy seemed to have a box of old bottles and old stuff in the back room that was too old, that they would not sell it. Even if they got prescriptions for it, they would not sell it. They would buy new versions of that. But the stuff in the back room, but they wouldn't throw it away either. They just kept it. So I would trade them new merchandise for that old merchandise. And that is the source of perhaps 3/4 of what I own. And over the years, I have in fact bought a lot of things, including that cabinet, which is an old English cabinet, probably dates from 1800s. But a large percentage of the things that are displayed in that cabinet were acquired in that trading at very little or no cost. A lot of the artifacts are very colorful. As you can see from the cabinet, they have different colors, different colored glasses. So there are collectors who specialize in glass, and particular colored, very early handmade bottles are quite valuable. The things that I own are relatively low value, and they come from 1910, 1920, which might be the original age of the oldest stores in the Los Angeles area. In the East, you can find things which date from 1850, whereas in Los Angeles, an antique is 1940, very recent, within my lifespan. Besides the serious collectors who go for, place great value in minor differences. For instance, the same bottle with the same ad, the same identification on the glass bottle, but slightly different color. An amber might have one value, and a light blue or a light green might have considerably more interest and value. So there are some things I have in this cabinet behind me that are the exact same bottle but with different characteristics. In 1880 to 1900, the molds very often were hand carved, and the carver might have misspelled the word. So that creates a unique bottle, which then has a little more value to a collector. There is an exhibit showing the original gold rush discovery from 1849. And there is a pharmacy with that, but it has a relatively small collection. There is some private collections, privately owned collections, but no actual museum in the state of California. I'm interested in founding and promoting the idea of a pharmacy museum in Los Angeles.